All right, buckle up, everybody. We're about to take a deep dive into Think and Grow Rich. You guys have given us a pretty serious stack of excerpts here.
Quite a bit to dig into.
Looks like you really want to crack the code to success, huh? So we're tackling a self-help book. And I know, some folks roll their eyes at self-help,
And you get a bad rap.
but this one's different. It was published almost a century ago.
And it's still going strong.
People are still talking about it, still finding value in it. So Think and Grow Rich, just a quick rundown. It's all about getting that financial and personal success. And get this, there are some seriously big names connected to it. We're talking Andrew Carnegie, Thomas Edison, Henry Ford. These guys knew a thing or two about making it big.
If they were paying attention to it, maybe we should too, right?
Right. I mean, come on, those are some heavy hitters.
Huh.
So what's the deal with this book? Does it actually hold up after all this time? Let's find out. One thing that really jumped out at me while I was looking through all these excerpts is this whole secret thing.
Oh.
The book keeps hinting at this big secret to success, but it never comes right out and says what it is.
It's like a puzzle almost. It wants you to figure it out for yourself.
Exactly. So pay attention, everyone. See if you can spot it as we go along.
Yeah.
And you know what else really grabbed my attention? This idea of burning desire.
Oh, it's central to the whole thing.
The book really emphasizes that burning desire is like the foundation for achieving any goal.
You can't just kind of want something. You got to be obsessed with it.
Right. And there's this amazing story in the book about a merchant after the Great Chicago Fire. His entire store is burned to the ground.
Talk about a setback.
I know, right? But what does this guy do? He stands in the ashes and declares, on that very spot, I will build the world's greatest store, no matter how many times it may burn down.
Talk about commitment.
Seriously. I mean, can you imagine that kind of determination? This guy's store is literally in ashes, and he's already planning to rebuild, even bigger and better than before.
That's burning desire in action.
That's what it looks like. So the book is telling us, if you want to succeed, you need that kind of unstoppable passion.
It can't be a casual, oh, that would be nice. It's got to be, I will make this happen no matter what.
It's about that unshakable belief in yourself and your vision.
And it's something anyone can tap into, whatever your goal is. Think about it. What's that one thing you're so passionate about that you'd rebuild it from scratch, even if it meant starting over and over and over again?
That's your burning desire. And according to Think and Grow Rich, that's the fuel that'll drive you to success. Speaking of burning desire, there's this story in the book about a guy named Edwin Barnes.
Oh, Barnes. That's a good one.
This guy was absolutely determined to work with Thomas Edison, not just for him, but with him.
He didn't just want a job. He wanted to be in Edison's inner circle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Barnes was so committed to this goal that he basically burned all his bridges, packed up his life, and moved to Orange, New Jersey.
He didn't even have much money.
Barely any, and no guarantee of a job or anything. I mean, most people would have been like, okay, that's a nice dream, but I gotta be realistic.
Not Barnes. He was all in.
He was like a dog with a bone, wouldn't take no for an answer. And you know what? It paid off.
Persistence, right?
Big time. He eventually got his shot to work with Edison. So what can we learn from Barnes? It's about creating your own opportunities.
Sometimes you got to make your own luck, you know? You can't just sit around waiting for things to happen.
You got to go after what you want with everything you've got. Okay, so we've got this burning desire, this relentless pursuit of our goals.
That's the fuel.
But the book also digs into the power of our minds.
Ah, the subconscious.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It emphasizes how the subconscious mind can actually help you achieve your goals.
It's not just about wishing for something. It's about imprinting that desire on your subconscious.
And one of the ways it suggests doing that is through this thing called auto-suggestion, right?
Right. It's about repeating affirmations to yourself. Basically talking to your subconscious mind and convincing it that what you want is already true.
So you're kind of reprogramming your own brain.
In a way, yeah. You're replacing those limiting beliefs with empowering ones.
That makes sense. And the book provides this self-confidence formula, which is basically a set of affirmations you can use to boost your self-belief.
It's like a recipe for building unshakable confidence.
But then there's also this kind of darker side to auto-suggestion.
Oh, right. The book talks about how focusing on negative thoughts can actually sabotage your efforts.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, isn't it? If you keep telling yourself you're going to fail, chances are you will.
Exactly. And they even use this term suggestive suicide, which is a bit intense.
It is, yeah. And they talk about this case of Joseph Grant, a bank official who basically convinced himself that he was doomed to fail.
And tragically, he ended up dying because of it.
It's a powerful reminder that our thoughts have incredible power, for better or worse. So be careful what you're telling yourself.
We got to be mindful of the stories we're feeding our minds. Okay, so we've got burning desire, we've got the power of the subconscious mind.
What else? What other key ingredients does this book highlight for achieving success?
Well, there's this whole idea of specialized knowledge.
Oh, right. Like just being smart isn't enough.
No, not really. The book argues that it's not just about knowledge in general, it's about having specific knowledge that's relevant to your goals.
I remember there was a great quote about this, something like, knowledge will not attract money unless it is organized and intelligently directed through practical plans of action.
Yeah, it's all about putting that knowledge to work.
So you need to know your stuff, but you also need to know how to apply it.
Exactly. And they use Henry Ford as an example. Remember, during his libel trial, a newspaper had called him ignorant.
Oh yeah, trying to discredit him.
Right. But Ford, in his defense, he showed that he had this deep understanding of the automobile industry.
He might not have been a scholar in everything, but he knew his cars.
And that's what mattered. His specialized knowledge, his expertise, that's what made him successful.
So it's not about being a jack of all trades. It's about mastering your specific field.
Find your niche, become an expert in that area, and then watch things start to happen.
This actually makes me think about you, the listener. What kind of specialized knowledge do you need to reach your goals? Are you focusing on the right areas?
It's something to consider,
Mm.
because even if you've got that burning desire, that unwavering belief in yourself, if you don't have the right tools and knowledge, you're going to have a hard time building anything worthwhile.
It's like trying to build a house without knowing how to use a hammer and nails.
Exactly. All right, ready to dive into another key concept? This one's all about teamwork.
Oh yeah, the mastermind thing.
Right. Think and Grow Rich really stresses the importance of surrounding yourself with the right people.
You can't do it alone.
Nope. The mastermind is basically a group of like-minded individuals who come together to support and inspire each other.
It's like your own personal dream team.
Exactly. And they use Henry Ford again as an example. I mean, here's this giant of industry, and even he relied on his mastermind group.
Who was in his group?
Oh, some pretty impressive folks. Thomas Edison was in there, Harvey Firestone, the tire guy.
Wow, that's quite a crew.
Right. It's like a brain trust of brilliant minds coming together to share ideas, support each other, and achieve amazing things.
So it's not just about what you know, it's about who you know and who you collaborate with.
Exactly. It makes you think about your own circle, doesn't it? Who are you surrounding yourself with?
Are they lifting you up or holding you back? Because that can make all the difference.
No doubt about it. Okay, ready for a slightly controversial topic?
Bring it on. I think I know where you're going with this.
Sex transmutation.
Yep, there it is.
Yeah.
This is where Think and Grow Rich gets a little, shall we say,
A
spicy.
bit out there for some folks.
It definitely raises some eyebrows. So what's the deal with this sex transmutation idea? What exactly is the book suggesting?
Well, it argues that sexual energy is this incredibly powerful force, right?
Okay, that's fair.
But it's saying that this energy can be channeled, transmuted into other areas of life, especially creative pursuits.
So it's not just about physical expression.
No, it's about harnessing that primal energy and using it to fuel your ambitions, your creative drive, your desire to achieve something great.
Interesting. And the book even points to historical figures like Napoleon, Shakespeare, Beethoven.
All known for their incredible achievements and, well, their rather active love lives.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is there something to this idea? Could this be the secret ingredient that fuels genius and drives people to achieve extraordinary things?
It's definitely a thought-provoking concept and one that pushes us to think differently about what it takes to succeed in life.
It certainly adds another layer to our deep dive into Think and Grow Rich.
It does, doesn't it? It really pushes the boundaries. You know, it's funny. We've been talking about all these different principles, burning desire, the subconscious mind, specialized knowledge, the mastermind, even this sex transmutation thing.
Yeah, it's quite a mix.
But it's like they're all pointing to something bigger, a core idea that ties everything together.
Oh, interesting. You think so? Like what?
Well, remember how the book keeps hinting at this secret to success?
Oh, right. That mysterious secret. Do you think you figured it out?
I think so. Think about it: burning desire, the power of belief, specialized knowledge, having a supportive network, even harnessing that primal energy. What's the common thread running through all of them?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. What do you think it is?
I think it's faith. Faith in yourself,
Mhm.
faith in your ability to make things happen, faith in the power of your own thoughts to shape your reality.
Faith. It seems so simple when you put it like that.
It does, doesn't it? but it's incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I can see that. It's like the foundation for everything else. If you don't believe you can achieve something, why even bother trying?
Exactly. And the book really hammers this point home. There's even a line in there that says, faith is the starting point of all accumulation of riches.
Not just money, though, right?
Right. It's talking about riches in every area of life, wealth, happiness, fulfillment, everything.
So basically, if you want to succeed, you got to believe you can.
That's the key. And the book goes beyond just saying have faith. It actually gives you a blueprint for developing it. It breaks down how to cultivate that faith, even if you're starting from a place of doubt.
So it's not just some mystical, airy-fairy thing.
No, it's practical. It's about taking specific steps to strengthen your belief in yourself and your ability to achieve what you want.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all fits together. So we've got faith as our foundation, and then all these other principles build on top of that.
Exactly. And the book doesn't sugarcoat things either. It acknowledges that there will be challenges, setbacks, even temporary defeats along the way.
The road to success is rarely smooth sailing.
Right. But the book emphasizes that what separates those who achieve their goals from those who don't is persistence. It's about getting back up, learning from your mistakes, and keep moving forward.
It's like that saying, fall 7 times, stand up 8.
That's it. It's about having that unshakable belief in yourself and your vision, even when things get tough. And another thing, the book cautions against expecting overnight results.
No magic bullets.
Nope. It takes time to build a fortune, whether it's financial wealth or a fulfilling life. It requires consistent effort and a willingness to stay the course.
No get-rich-quick schemes here.
Definitely not. And remember, just thinking about your goals isn't enough. You gotta take action.
You have to put in the work.
Exactly. Think and Grow Rich actually identifies procrastination as one of the main reasons why people fail.
Makes sense.
Oh.
When you put things off, you're basically giving fear and doubt a chance to creep in.
And that can completely derail your efforts.
So taking action, even if it's imperfect action, is better than staying stuck.
Absolutely. It's about momentum, about building that forward movement. And, speaking of things that can hold us back, the book dedicates a whole chapter to fear.
Oh yeah, the 6 ghosts of fear. I remember that part.
It's a pretty powerful section. The book identifies these 6 common fears that prevent people from reaching their full potential.
What are they again?
Okay, so the 6 fears are fear of poverty, fear of criticism, fear of ill health, fear of loss of love, fear of old age, and fear of death.
Wow, those are some pretty heavy hitters.
They are. And what's interesting is how the book frames these fears.
How so?
Well, it's not saying these fears are necessarily irrational, but it's arguing that they're often based on imagined scenarios, worst-case thinking.
Like we're creating these monsters in our own minds.
Exactly. And those monsters can paralyze us, prevent us from taking risks, and going after what we truly want.
So how do we deal with these fears? Does the book offer any solutions?
It does. The main idea is to replace those fear-based thoughts with positive faith-based thoughts. Remember that faith we were talking about earlier?
Right. It all comes back to belief.
Exactly. So if you find yourself spiraling into a pit of anxiety, you got to consciously shift your focus.
Focus on what you want, not what you're afraid of.
Precisely. Train your mind to look for the good, to see challenges as opportunities, and to believe in your ability to overcome any obstacle.
It's like reframing those negative thoughts.
Exactly, turning them into something empowering. And another thing the book suggests is making decisions.
Making decisions. How does that help with fear?
Well, the book argues that indecision is a breeding ground for fear. When we hesitate, avoid making choices, we're basically allowing doubt to take root.
And that doubt just feeds our anxieties.
Right. So sometimes the best way to overcome fear is to just take action, even if it's not the perfect action.
It's about moving forward, gaining momentum.
Exactly. And this brings us right back to that idea of persistence. It's a recurring theme in Think and Grow Rich for a reason.
It seems to be the key that unlocks everything else.
It really is. The book stresses that persistence is essential for overcoming setbacks and achieving any worthwhile goal.
It even breaks down persistence into 8 specific factors.
Oh, yeah. Those 8 factors are definiteness of purpose, desire, self-reliance, definiteness of plans, accurate knowledge, cooperation, willpower, and habit.
Wow, that's quite a list. It's
Yeah.
almost like a recipe for developing unshakable persistence.
It is. And one of the more interesting points the book makes is that sometimes the best way to overcome fear is to force yourself to act courageously, even when you're terrified.
Like face your fears head on.
Exactly. It's about pushing yourself outside your comfort zone, building that mental muscle. So if you're terrified of public speaking, what do? You get up there and speak.
Easier said than done for some people?
Oh, for sure. But the point is, the more you do it, the less power that fear has over you.
It's like anything else, practice makes progress.
Exactly. The more you repeat those acts of courage, the more confident and resilient you become. And, speaking of things that can hold us back, Think and Grow Rich also warns against negative influences.
You mean like toxic people?
Yeah, exactly. The people we surround ourselves with can have a huge impact on our thoughts, our beliefs, and our overall success.
The book talks about how the subconscious mind is susceptible to suggestion.
Right. So if you're constantly around negative people, those negative thoughts can seep into your subconscious without you even realizing it.
It's like they're planting seeds of doubt and fear in your mind.
Exactly. So it's not just about seeking out positive influences, it's also about being mindful of who you allow into your inner circle.
Protect your mental space.
Absolutely. And it's not just about people either. It's also about the information we consume.
What we read, what we watch, what we listen to.
Right. The book cautions against dwelling on negative news and gossip.
It's like junk food for the mind.
Exactly. It can feed our fears and anxieties. One of the things I appreciate about Think and Grow Rich is that it doesn't just focus on money.
It's about more than just getting rich.
Exactly. It emphasizes the importance of mental and spiritual riches as well.
It's about building a fulfilling life, not just a fat bank account.
Absolutely. It dives into the importance of developing a strong character, cultivating a positive mindset, and living a life of purpose.
It's about leaving a legacy, making a difference in the world.
Right. And one of the key messages of the book is that you have to take responsibility for your own life.
No blaming others, no playing the victim.
Nope. Think and Grow Rich challenges you to step into your power as the creator of your own destiny.
It's about recognizing that you have the power to choose your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions.
And those choices ultimately determine the course of your life. Speaking of choices, the book also dives into the power of imagination.
Oh yeah, using your imagination to achieve your goals. I remember that part.
It distinguishes between two types of imagination: synthetic imagination and creative imagination.
That's right. I was wondering if you were going to bring that up. What's the difference again?
So synthetic imagination is like rearranging the furniture.
Okay, I'm listening.
It's about taking existing ideas and concepts and combining them in new ways.
So it's like innovation, taking what you already know and creating something new with it.
Exactly. It's problem solving. It's coming up with solutions based on your existing knowledge and experience.
Got it. What about creative imagination?
Creative imagination is different. It's more like tapping into a hidden source of knowledge and inspiration.
Like getting ideas out of thin air.
Kind of, yeah. It's about receiving insights and ideas that seem to come from beyond your conscious mind.
Almost like a divine download.
Exactly. And the book argues that this creative imagination is what sets the truly extraordinary individuals apart.
So is this creative imagination something you're born with, or can you develop it?
Well, Think and Grow Rich suggests that we can all tap into it.
Everyone have that potential.
That's what the book says. It encourages us to use visualization techniques, engage in quiet contemplation, and trust our intuition.
It's about creating space for those aha moments to occur.
Exactly. And sometimes those moments come when we least expect them.
Like when we're taking a shower or going for a walk.
Exactly. And, there's this great story in the book about Dr. Frank Gonzalez, a preacher who needed $1 million to build a new college.
$1 million? That's
Yeah.
a lot of money, especially back then.
I know, right? But he was determined to make it happen. And he had this idea. He decided to preach a sermon titled, "What I Would Do If I Had $1 Million."
Interesting. So he's basically visualizing his success.
Exactly. But he didn't just preach the sermon, he poured his heart and soul into it. He visualized himself already in possession of the money. He described in vivid detail how he would use it to build this amazing college.
Wow, that's powerful stuff.
It is. And guess what happened?
Would he actually get the $1 million?
He did. A wealthy businessman in the congregation was so moved by his vision, so inspired by his passion, that he offered to fund the entire project right then and there.
No way. That's amazing.
Right. It's a perfect example of the power of combining a clear vision with unwavering faith.
It's like the universe conspired to make it happen.
Exactly. And it highlights something that Think and Grow Rich emphasizes throughout the book. These principles don't work in isolation.
They work best when they're all working together.
Exactly. It's like they create a synergy, amplifying each other's effects.
The whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
Precisely. And that's where the idea of organized planning comes in. The book provides a framework for taking all these principles, the burning desire, the faith, the specialized knowledge, and putting them into action.
So it's not just about wishing and hoping, it's about having a plan.
Exactly. And the book outlines a few key steps for organizing your plans for success. First, you need to define your goal with absolute clarity. No vague wishes or half-hearted
You
desires.
got to know exactly what you want,
Right, crystal clear. Then you need to create a detailed plan of action, breaking down that big goal into smaller, more manageable steps.
like creating a roadmap to your destination.
Exactly. And then set a deadline for achieving your goal. This adds a sense of urgency and helps you stay focused.
Deadlines are definitely motivating.
They are. And finally, the most important step, take action. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Just start taking those steps, even if they're small.
It's about moving forward, building momentum.
Exactly. And Think and Grow Rich stresses that this process of organized planning is ongoing. It's not a one-time thing. You need to constantly evaluate your progress, make adjustments, stay flexible.
It's a dynamic process, not a static one.
Right. And it goes back to that idea of persistence, of never giving up on your dreams, even when things get tough. Speaking of tough times, the book also includes a chapter on failure.
Oh, right. The 30 major causes of failure. I was kind of dreading this part.
It can be a bit sobering.
So what are some of the common pitfalls that people fall into on the road to success?
Well, the book identifies a wide range of factors, everything from lack of a well-defined purpose to procrastination to negative thinking to fear of criticism. It even talks about lack of self-control as a major obstacle.
It's like a laundry list of things to avoid if you want to succeed.
It is. And while some of these causes might seem obvious, the book provides this really insightful analysis of each one.
Helping you pinpoint your own weaknesses.
Exactly. It's like holding up a mirror, forcing you to take a hard look at yourself, which can be uncomfortable, but also incredibly valuable.
Because once you know your weaknesses, you can start working on them.
Exactly. And that's really what Think and Grow Rich is all about, empowering individuals to take control of their lives and reach their full potential.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. Burning desire, the subconscious mind, specialized knowledge, the mastermind, even sex transmutation. It's a lot to process.
It is. But it's also incredibly inspiring. It gives you the sense of possibility, like anything is achievable if you set your mind to it and follow these principles.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Think and Grow Rich, what's the main takeaway? What's the one thing our listeners should remember?
I think the most important thing to remember is this. Success is a journey, not a destination. There will be challenges, there will be setbacks, and there will be moments of doubt along the way.
But it's how you respond to those challenges that defines you.
Exactly. It's about cultivating that unwavering belief in yourself, that persistent spirit that refuses to give up. And it's about remembering that you have the power to shape your own destiny, one thought, one choice, one action at a time.
It's about embracing the journey, the ups and downs, and knowing that ultimately you're in control.
You are the captain of your ship.
Yeah.
And speaking of journeys, there's this really interesting story in the book about a guy named Elmer Gates.
Okay, tell me more.
He was this inventor, came up with all sorts of cool stuff, the electric loom, a foam fire extinguisher.
Wait, foam fire extinguisher, that's his invention.
Yep, among many others, he held over 200 patents.
Wow, that's incredible. He must have been some kind of genius.
He was. But what's really fascinating is how he tapped into his creative potential.
How do you do that?
He had this whole system for accessing his creative imagination.
Like a secret formula?
Kind of. He'd go into this darkened room, completely shut out all distractions, and just focus his mind on the problem he was trying to solve.
Sounds kind of spooky.
Well, maybe a little, but it worked for him.
So he'd just sit there in the dark and boom, inspiration would strike.
Not exactly. He believed that by calming his mind and getting into this deep state of relaxation, he could access a higher level of consciousness.
Like a meditative state?
Yeah, something like that. He called it the subjective mind, and he believed it was a source of incredible creative energy.
So he was intentionally creating the conditions for his genius to emerge.
Exactly. And it's a great example of how we can use our minds to achieve extraordinary things. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about tapping into this wellspring of creativity and insight that we all have within us.
Makes you think, doesn't it? What could we achieve if we could all learn to access that part of ourselves?
The possibilities are endless. And, this brings us back to that idea of faith again.
Faith in yourself, faith in the universe, faith in something bigger than yourself.
Exactly. It's about believing that you have the potential for greatness and that the universe is supporting you every step of the way.
That's a really empowering thought. Okay, so as we wrap up our deep dive into Think and Grow Rich, what are some key takeaways for our listeners? What can they start doing today to apply these principles in their own lives?
Well, I think the first step is to identify your burning desire.
That all-consuming passion, the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning.
Exactly. Once you know what you truly want, you can start cultivating the faith and belief in yourself to achieve it.
And then it's about taking action, putting in the work, surrounding yourself with supportive people, and never giving up.
Absolutely. And don't forget the power of the subconscious mind. Use affirmations, visualize your success, create space for inspiration to strike.
It's about becoming the conscious creator of your own reality.
That's it. And remember, the journey to success is rarely a straight line. There will be obstacles and setbacks along the way, but it's how you respond to those challenges that ultimately determines your outcome.
It's about resilience, perseverance, and never losing sight of your dreams.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So to everyone listening, go out there, embrace those burning desires, cultivate that unshakable faith, and create the life you've always dreamed of.
And remember, the journey is just as important as the destination. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into Think and Grow Rich, folks. Until next time.